My name is David van Rijbroek. After my big book on Congo, I've written a much smaller one. It's only 170 pages. It has a provocative title, and I think a provocative conclusion, but a very quiet argument. The title is Tegen verkiezingen, which means as much as against elections. And the provocative conclusion is that today elections are not really making democracy possible, but are largely responsible for killing parts of democracy. And I combine that conclusion with the second thought, that is that lottery may be a much more democratic instrument than elections are today. Now that is quite thought-provoking, and yet the tone with which I'm written this was described by my editor at the BZGB as being the tone of a real classical essay. The book actually consists of 4 parts, and I use a medical metaphor throughout the book. First part is called symptoms, second one is called diagnosis, third one pathogenesis, fourth one remedies. Fairly classical way of working when dealing with a particular, particularly societal topic, and the topic here at hand is the crisis of today's democracy. So the symptoms I'm starting with are basically describing the disease of representation. I call it the democratic fatigue syndrome. And it's a syndrome that is expressing itself through a whole range of symptoms like less and less people are going to vote, less and less people are members of political parties, trust in political institutions is going down the drain at an incredibly fast speed, whereas the efficiency of the democratic system, again, is really losing a lot of its momentum. This is what I described in the first part called symptoms, and I use a lot of academic stuff for that. And then afterwards, I give a couple of diagnoses that have been given. It's the fault of politicians, it's the fault of democracy, it's the fault of representative democracy, and then I come up with my own diagnosis that says it's the fault of a particular form of representative democracy, notably electoral democracy. That brings me to the third part, where I say that today elections are regarded as synonymous to democracy, and yet we seem to forget that we've only been playing with elections for 200 years and we've been having democracy for 3,000 years. So I'm trying to show that throughout history, lottery has a much longer standing tradition as a democratic instrument than elections ever had. And the rest of my book is trying to show how the idea of lottery is coming back up again. This should be a 2-minute pitch. I know I could go on talking about this at length. I'm quite happy to talk about it in English and French, but I do understand German, Italian and Spanish as well to answer questions or to check proofs or whatever. So this is the book I've been writing on. It's a small book, it's a result of 3 years working, and it's been provoking quite a bit of debate here in the Low Countries, that is Flanders and the Netherlands.